Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Do Accountancy. In our previous session, we have studied what is manufacturing account, its format, the formats of trading account, profit and loss account, and balance sheet. And we have understood the major differences between trading account and manufacturing account. And also, we did a quick review of some most important adjustments. If you haven't seen those videos, then you can click on the link given below in the description box to get the proper understanding of all the concepts. If you enjoy our videos, don't forget to like and share them with your friends. For more such videos, do subscribe to our channel Let's Do Accountancy. And yes, hit the bell icon to get the notification for our latest updates. Also get the privilege to become a Prime member and get the access to all our amazing perks on your fingertips by just clicking the join button. In today's session, we will be covering some more adjustments which are also most repeatedly asked from your exam point of view, with their journal entries and dual effects in the financial statement of a manufacturing company. So watch this video till the end and get ready to note down some really important hints that can be useful for your exams. Let's begin with the first one, depreciation. This sounds easy, right? But do you know the effects of it in a manufacturing account? Come, let's have a look at the effects then. Depreciation is considered as a decrease in value of assets over the years of its useful life. As we all know, the entry for the same is depreciation account debit to asset account. Now here, the most important point to be noted is that if depreciation is given in adjustments are related to factory assets, then one effect will go to debit side of manufacturing account under direct factory expenses and second will be deduct from assets in balance sheet. If depreciation is related to office assets, then one effect will go to debit side of profit and loss account and second will go to deduct from assets. Let's check out the hints then. The first hint is sometimes the amount of depreciation is given as an indirect hint in the trial balance. For example, leasehold land for office worth 1 lakh for 5 years from 1st April 2019. So here we need to write off the leasehold premises in 5 years. By calculating 1 lakh divided by 5, we get 20,000 per year to be written off. It also has the same effects. The first one is write off 20,000 on debit side of profit and loss account, and the second is deduct 20,000 from leasehold land on asset side of balance sheet. And the second hint is if depreciation is already mentioned in trial balance, then it will have only one effect, and that is on the debit side of profit and loss account, since it would have already been recorded and adjusted in the value of assets. Let's have a look at a note here. Provision for depreciation account is created to accumulate all depreciation amount of various assets. So the depreciation amount is not credited to asset account. Instead, this amount is transferred to provision for depreciation account. And ultimately, this account is shown as a deduction from fixed assets in balance sheet. If provision for depreciation is already mentioned in trial balance, then it will have only one effect, and that is deduct from asset side in balance sheet. Moving on to the next one, that is goods lost by fire or accident or theft. When goods lost by fire or accident or theft, there can be three possibilities, and those are the goods are uninsured, or they might be fully insured or partially insured. The journal entries for these cases will be insurance claim account debit with the amount of claim admitted if fully or partially insured. Loss by fire or accident or theft account debit with the amount of loss suffered in case goods are uninsured or only partially insured. 2. Goods lost by fire or accident or theft account with the cost of goods lost. Do remember that we need to take the cost price and not the market or selling price. And also the effects would be, first, credit side of trading account will show the cost of goods lost. Second, asset side of balance sheet will show the insurance claim amount if any. And the third one is debit side of profit and loss account will show the net loss amount. Next is goods distributed as free sample. We may distribute goods to our customers as free samples for sales promotion. It is recorded at cost and not the selling price, as we are distributing these goods as free samples. So we are not earning any profits out of this. The entry for the same is advertisement account debit to goods distributed as free samples account. When this is given in adjustments, it has two effects. The first one is credit side of trading account and the second one is debit side of profit and loss account. Next is goods taken by proprietor. The proprietor may withdraw goods for his own use. The journal entry is drawings account debit to goods withdrawn for personal use account. When it is given in adjustments, the two effects are credit side of trading account, again at cost of goods, and add to drawings, or we can say deduct from capital on liability side, as ultimately drawings are deducted from capital. Moving ahead to interest accrued on investments and loans given. Interest is a financial gain for the business. If it is not received, we need to account for outstanding or accrued interest at the end of the year. The adjustment entry will be interest accrued account debit to interest account. The two effects will be credit side of profit and loss account, as it is an income for the business. And the second one will go to add to investments or loan account on asset side, or it can be written as a separate item on asset side. The next item from the list of adjustments is interest accrued on loans taken. When we take a loan, interest to be paid on that is an expense for the business. If it is paid during the year, it will appear in the trial balance, from where it will be debited to profit and loss account. But if it is not yet paid, then we need to account for outstanding interest on loan, that is interest accrued but not paid. The entry would be interest account debit to outstanding interest account. The effects in final accounts will be debit side of profit and loss account, that is add to interest if any, or else write it separately. And the second effect will be liability side of balance sheet, as outstanding interest, where it can be shown as additions to the loan amount or separate item. Moving ahead, if in question it is given that sale of machinery was wrongly included in sales account. Friends, can you tell the effects in the final accounts for the given example? Let's have a look at the correct journal entry and its effects in final accounts. Proceeds received from sales of any asset are considered as capital receipts, whereas proceeds received from sale of goods are considered as revenue receipts. But sometimes capital receipts are included in revenue receipts. This is exactly what has happened in the above example. Sale of machinery, that is capital receipt, is included in sales, that is revenue receipts. This is an error of principle and we need to rectify the same. The rectification entry will be sales account debit, as we need to remove it from sales of goods to machinery account, since it is sale of machinery, so credit asset account. So the two effects in final accounts will be deduct from sales account on credit side of trading account, and second effect will be deduct from machinery account on asset side. In the opposite case, where sale of goods is wrongly included in sales of machinery, that is revenue receipts included in capital receipts. The rectification entry will be machinery account debit, since we need to add back in sales from where the sale was wrongly deducted, to sales account, that is added to sales of good. The two effects are, the first one is add to sales account on credit side of trading account, and the second effect is add to machinery account on asset side. Let's see another example. Now suppose it is given that carriage inward or new machine included in carriage inward account. Can you give the effects for this? At first sight, there seems to be no mistakes in it, but when you have a closer look, you will find that the expenses incurred on carriage inward of an asset is considered as an capital expense, which needs to be capitalized, that is, add to the cost of asset. And carriage inward is considered as revenue expense as it is incurred for goods. And as given in the above example, carriage inward for new machinery was wrongly included in the carriage inward. That is, capital expense is included in revenue expense. The rectification entry will be machinery account debit, since we need to add this to the cost of asset, to carriage inward account to remove this from the revenue expense account. The two effects will be deduct from carriage inward account on debit side of manufacturing account, and the second effect will be add to machinery account on asset side. In the opposite case, if repairs to machinery, that is revenue expense, is included in machinery account, which is nothing but capital expense, the journal entry for rectifying this error will be repairs to machinery account debit to machinery account. The two effects are, the first one is add to repairs to machinery account on debit side of manufacturing account, and the second effect is less from assets, that is machinery account, in balance sheet. Moving on to the next adjustment, that is unrecorded purchases. If any purchase remains to be recorded, it is known as unrecorded purchase. This is an error of omission. The entry would be purchase account debit to creditors account. Reserve for discount from creditors should be calculated on such new balances of sundry creditors. The two effects are, the first one is add to purchases, and the second effect is add to creditors on liability side of balance sheet. And the last adjustment is unrecorded sales. Similar to unrecorded purchases, if any sales remains to be recorded, it is known as unrecorded sales. This is also an error of omission. The entry would be debtors account debit to sales account. Reserve for doubtful debts, that is RDD, or reserve for discounts to debtors, that is RFDD, should be calculated on such new balances of sundry debtors as we have discussed in our previous sessions. The two effects are add to sales and add to debtors on asset side of balance sheet. So that's all for today's session. These were some of the most important and repeatedly asked adjustments with their effects pertaining to manufacturing account, trading account, profit and loss account, and balance sheet. We also saw some hidden adjustments in trial balance and their effects. Points to remember while solving the sums. First, you can give single effects of the items given in trial balance. Second, leave some space for adjustments, and then while solving the adjustments give dual effects, that is equal debit and credit effect. Third, you can solve the hidden adjustments in trial balance while posting them so that we don't forget them. And the fourth is, after giving effects of all the items, start totaling, and ultimately your balance sheet will tally at the correct amount. In the next session, we will solve problem sums based on all the concepts that we have studied up till now with regards to manufacturing company. We hope you liked this session and it helped strengthen your basics so that you don't make any mistakes related to them. If you still have any doubts, feel free to ask us in the comments section. We are always there to help you. We also provide various online courses on our website www.letstude.com at super affordable prices. For more such videos, do subscribe to our channel Let's Tude Accountancy and hit the bell icon to get the notification of our latest updates. Thank you. See you soon in our next session. Until then, keep watching, keep learning.